Hello and welcome to my channel. I thought I'd take you along with me today to Bear Lake Regional Park to do a little bit of outdoor sketching and painting. It is a cold day, a little bit rainy. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't cooperating with me this week. I wish I could have gone out the day before when it was beautiful, sunny, puffy white clouds. And I promise that the next time I go out, we'll have a sunnier day and you can see more of the beautiful area of eastern Washington and northern Idaho. On the far right hand side, you'll see a gazebo right there. That is where I'm going to paint today. There were only a few other people in the park, some walking their dogs, one person out on the lake fishing, and there's a little playground nearby, so if you hear odd sounds in the background, that'll be the native people and not the animals. This is the view I decided to work on in my sketchbook. I love the way the trees were kind of standing in between the wave of the path. I didn't really like the picnic tables so much, so I took my artistic license and decided to not add them into my drawing. Because it was so cold today, I decided to make this a quick one as well. It's not a small picture, it's a little bit bigger, but I was wanting to focus more on the wonderful greens that you don't even see in the picture so well. In person, they were going from these light yellow warm greens to these really dark blue greens, and I wanted to see if I could at least just capture that feeling of the beauty of the greens that were around me. Also, this was the first time I was able to take out my new watercolor plein air tablet. I don't know if you call it a tablet, but board from StablO. It's a really neat item that's created in France. I found it on another YouTube channel. I can't remember which one, but I thought that looks fantastic, so I ordered one, and this was my first day trying it, and I really loved it. It has magnets in there that hold my little toolkit with all the paint that you see there, and so it doesn't slide off easily. It'll still move around a little bit, but nothing too much. And there's room for me to clip my mop cloth so that when I need to wipe off the excess water on my water brush, I've got that handy. I also use that cloth to wipe down my palette when it gets too muddy. I normally don't start my sketches with pencil, but I was a little bit on the cold side. I wasn't too sure of my angles and perspective, so I started with some guidelines using my pencil. But here I am moving right back to my ink pen, and I'll start going over my sketch lines, and then I'll also start adding some of the details. Once I have all of the ink done, I will make sure that it is dry, and I will go on to doing the watercolor part of it. I really enjoy taking the time to get out of my studio and work on these loose sketches and paintings on plein air. There's something about being in the middle of nature and listening to the sounds that is very calming and meditative. And it's a nice break from the routine that I have in my studio, which is some very highly detailed pieces. I hope that my videos, or sharing these videos, will encourage you to go out and do the same thing if you're not already doing this. I think it's really important to have these exercises as artists that we're sketching and working from life and not just going into a routine, but actually looking, observing the area around us and recording it. I know that for me, watching videos like this on YouTube are very inspiring for me. I also find new and interesting tools and materials that kind of renew my love for watercolor and have me wanting to try different techniques and mediums. One of the biggest challenges I had to overcome when I first started going outdoors and doing sketching was my sense of shyness. I don't always find it easy to talk to people, and I was a little worried that people would come over and look at what I was drawing and maybe be judgmental. I don't know, but honestly, in all the years that I have done this, I've never had anybody come up to me and say anything negative. If anything, I've had some really nice conversations and have gotten to meet some really interesting people. And it's amazing how many people out there would like to do this, but I think that fear holds them back a little bit. So I hope that even though I'm shy, that I can do this. Maybe it'll inspire you to do this if you haven't done so already. At this point, I'm basically using two greens, and I should mention these are M. Graham watercolors that I'm using. I'm basically using Azo Green and Hooker's Green, and I sometimes add a little touch of Azo Yellow in there to get a warmer green if I need it. You can kind of see in the right side there in the middle, there's a little touch of Azo Yellow, sorry. And here I am mopping up my palette because I'm getting a little crazy with all of the greens. And I've decided that it is time to start working on the trees. So I'm starting with a neutral tint, and then I'm adding in a little bit of transparent red iron oxide just to get it a little bit warmer, because the neutral tint that M. Graham has is actually kind of on the bluey purpley side if you use just that color. I'll also be using the neutral tint in the path. I find that I can make very beautiful grays with it, warm or cool grays. One thing I'll also try to capture is the discoloration at the base of the trees. I'm not sure what that is. I have tried to look it up, and it could possibly be a fungus or some sort of disease. Hopefully not, because these are beautiful trees and I would hate to see them impacted in a bad way. For this entire painting, I've been using my Rosemary & Co. travel brush, and it is perfect because it comes to a very fine point and I'm able to get little details, and I can also do the bigger washes that you see here. I'll be listing all of my supplies in the description below, so if you're interested in what I'm using and if you'd like to try them yourself, that way you know where to look for them. I'm not sponsored or affiliated with any of these products. I just happen to really like them. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is a cold day, rainy, not very comfortable. The mosquitoes were out and biting a little bit. so I decided to keep this one short, but it's nice just to get out. And also, I get a little bit of practice in, which is good. These aren't intended to be masterpieces. They're exercises, and they're what keep us limber as artists. Hopefully in my next video, when I go outdoors, I'll be able to do a more detailed piece and have better weather. Thank you for joining me today and watching this video. I appreciate you.